All right, guys, put your hands together for Happy Ali. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for being patient due to the delays that we always assume will be there because nothing ever goes the way we want it to. So, hi. So, today, this is my first time giving this talk the way that I'm giving it. We are going to talk about the most important thing in this world. The one thing that shapes every single thing around you. The one thing that determines what state you're in, determines what you think about yourself, what you think about others. It determines your mood. It determines the vibe in your home. It determines how you show up for yourself. And it determines how others show up for you. That one single thing determines how you interact with the world and how the world, whether it's people or whether it's the universe at large, reacts to you. Can anyone tell me what that thing is? Anyone? Go ahead. Perspective close enough. Okay, so the one thing that determines what you do with your life is your inner dialogue. It's the voice in your head. It's the voice that keeps talking all the time. And unfortunately, we don't really give it a lot of attention. We don't pay a lot of attention to what it is that's running through our head. You knew what time you were leaving the house. You planned it. You probably chose a very specific outfit to wear. You made a lot of plans for the weekend. But when it comes to the voices running in your head, in your mind, you don't really pay attention. You just let it do its thing. How many of you are guilty? Okay, really? Okay. I mean, seriously, you think that much about what voices are running through your head? Usually the voices are on autopilot. But I want to tell you something, and I want to tell you where these voices come from, and I want to put it in its perspectives. So who's ready to understand where it's coming from? Now let's get a little woo-woo, okay? So, in order to understand the human mind, you have to understand the perspective, the energy that designed it. So obviously we didn't design our mind. We're going to go back to the soul. We're going to go back to the soul that you are. And we're even going to go further back to when the souls were a big clump and we were called source, or we weren't called anything actually. We were soul energy, source energy, whatever you want to call it, God. And that perspective decided to have a human experience. Okay? So it said, I'm going to go somewhere and I'm going to create a playground and I'm going to create a body that's literally going to be designed to be the opposite of who I am. So I can be at a blank state, in a blank state, with a machine. This is our machine, human hardware, and human software, the brain, that literally knows nothing, and it is designed to survive. And I'm going to go along on this ride with it. So the soul comes on this ride, and I'm going to whisper shit in his ear. Stuff. Excuse me, my children are here. And I'm going to design it to do certain things. But it is going to be instinctively the opposite of who I am as an eternal being, because we are all eternal beings. There is who you were before you were born, and it was eternal. And then there's this little tiny body that we stream into, and for a tiny period of time, then we make some friends, and then we pop out of the body and we go back to eternity and pop into a ton of other bodies. But here's the premise, okay? So I want to first explain what our soul's perspective on life is. The soul, remember this is really, really important. The soul is eternal. It knows there's no hurry, there's no lack of time, there's nothing. The soul is full of unconditional love because it knows it's one with the universe. It designed the universe. It's beyond the universe. It is one. There is no separation of where one soul begins and when another one ends and begins. And it's just big one clump of love. Okay, so there's unconditional love. There's no sense of separation. There's pure potentiality in its mindset because it can create worlds. Now, your little brain cannot create a planet, can you? No, you can answer if you want. So you cannot create a planet. We don't have the system in the intelligence to create a body that works the way that it does. But the soul is eternal. It knows everything. It can create out of nothing. It doesn't need someone else to do it first in order to do it. And it knows its power. It knows its potential. It knows its love. It knows all of this stuff. So guess what? It created a body that would have to have a sense of individuality. Because if that is all connected, the body has to have a sense of individuality. So the body has to feel separate. So all of you in your chairs feel like you are who you are and you're separate from the world. But that is the mental and the human software. That's how the body was made. It's designed to feel separate. It's designed to not feel unconditional love. Love is very conditional on this planet. If you behave the way that I want you to behave, then I will like you. If you don't behave the way I don't want you to behave, then I don't like you. This is built in us. And then we're feeling guilty for not having unconditional love. What else did the soul have? The soul knows its potential. It can create out of nothing. But the human mind is designed, first of all, I'm not talking about instinct yet, because that's our generational programming. I'm just talking about the mind. It's because it comes in completely blank, minus its instincts. The mind, our human little brain, just learns stuff from your parents, your friends, what it sees, what it believes the world to be. And it creates basically a reality in its head like a computer does, kind of like AI is doing right now, how it's taking all the data that's already existed. And any guess that it can make about what is possible is only based on the information that it already has had. And the brain literally thinks 95% of the same thoughts that it thought yesterday. So what it can create is pretty much what it's been creating. You just live the same life over and over and over with a 5% difference each time. So life feels like a very slow variation of yesterday. So the brain can only predict what it's seen, what it knows, and it actually becomes addicted to the emotions. So let's say that your life has been full of drama or love. Because you have that emotion over and over and over again, your body gets addicted really quick. If any of you have been hooked on crack, or cigarettes, after 3 days of doing something in a row, you are already hooked. So anytime you have an emotion, if you have a state, you're used to whining, bitching, complaining, or being joyful, laughing, angry, whatever it is. After 3 days or 4 days of doing that, your body becomes addicted to that chemical. So what it does, it starts creating scenarios so you can have that chemical be released. So all of that happens in the human software is what I call it. And then the human hardware is basically your instincts. It's your fight and flight system. It's designed to keep you alive from the time you were born till the time you die. It's supposed to extend it as far as it can. So we're dealing with a very limited perspective of life versus the soul aspect version of you that knows your infinite potential. It knows that you can be an inventor, a musician. Musicians know this. Musicians go into the studio, create something that was never there. Even a basketball player, when they get in the zone, they're making moves that no one else has ever done. There's their favorite soccer player, what's his name, Ronaldo? And he does this little move that's Sue. And his move is his move. He made it up. And now he can like flip upside down and hit the ball with his head down here and his legs are up here. That's his thing he created. But if he was going to learn from other soccer players, he would have never been able to create any of that because he's working with the human software and hardware. So anything that allows you to create something brand new. I know we have makeup artists here, musicians here. When you create something that you've never done before, that is channeling your higher self. That is channeling your soul. So what I wanted to talk about was how to tell the difference. Basically, I had to practice with my little kids because if you can explain it to 8-year-olds, you can explain it to adults. I said, think of the human hardware as a 5th grader or a 4th grader trying to teach you algebra, and think of the soul, what I call soul tapping into your soul, the soul's intelligence, as a professor of mathematics trying to teach you the same thing. Who are you going to prioritize? The professor or the 5th grader? Come on, yell it out. Professor. So are you going to put them in the same category? If a 5th grader says 1 + 1 is 3, you're going to just pretend that you didn't even hear it or just tell the little kid to go away. But if the mathematics master says 1 + 1 is 3, you're going to think about it a little bit. You're going to be like, what do you mean? And whether he's right or wrong, you're going to put some thought into it. So I'm going to make some statements because this is what happens. All of you at one time or another, the older you are, the more you've had your midlife crises. There's one point where you're like, what am I doing with my life? I can't do this anymore. I don't know if I'm capable of doing this. I've never done this before. I don't want to do what I've been doing my entire life and I want to start something completely new. Or now like my family is gone. They moved away. I don't know how to take care of myself anymore. I don't know who I am anymore. I'm scared. And I don't know how to continue on because I've never done it before. How many people have had those moments? Raise your hand, scream it, say yes, me. We all have had that moment when we're sitting there having imposter syndrome, wondering, am I able to do this? And the chances of you being able to do it in that mindset is pretty much none. But luckily, our soul came along with us and it brought its intelligence with us. And when we learn to soul tap and tap into our soul's intelligence, we slowly start tapping it into its frequency and getting wisdom where there was no wisdom before. So I'm going to make some statements and you guys yell out if it's the software, human software, or is it soul tapping? Okay? I'm not good enough. Human software, right? I can figure this out. I don't know what I'm doing. No one's ever done it before. But if I keep trying, I'll come up with some way that I've never thought of before. I'm going to resource other people and get help by a bunch of people who are enlightened and figure out something brand new, start a new company, and it might work and it might not, but it's going to be fun. So do you see the difference? Now I'm going to show you how to recognize that. Now it's really easy for me to say it and for you to yell it, right? It's so easy because I'm saying it, you're yelling it, we're good, we're having fun. But what we're doing right now is what I want you to do is actually see how it feels in your body. The thing is, the thoughts that we think happen so fast. And then we're sitting there on our bed having these moments, feeling shitty about ourselves or feeling great, whatever it is, we're feeling something. Because our thoughts create hormones that create feelings, and our body has a visceral reaction. Okay? By the way, I wanted to call the human software versus the soul tapping, I wanted to call it cold tapping, because it's when we try to do something, we cut a piece of eternal tree and we burnt it to a crisp, and now it's a little coal that's left, and then we're putting them all over like trauma all over our body, because that's what we do. We store things in our body. So I always say we got little bits of coal in our body, and unless I'll teach you how to process that. But soul tapping, cold tapping, that was my thing that I didn't mention in the beginning. But right now, I'm going to teach you how to tell the difference between when your body's talking and when your soul is talking. So feel your body, and then tell me if you're feeling contraction. Contraction means I feel crappy, I'm tightening up, I'm getting a little stressed, my head's getting a little hot. Contraction or expansion. Expansion is, I feel more relaxed. I feel a little bit better. Life feels a little bit easier, even if it's not any different. So when I say I'm a crappy person, like think of it, I'm a crappy person. I can't do this. I'm stuck. Do you contract or relaxed? Contract. When you say I am one with the universe, I've done it before, I'm going to tap into higher intelligence, do you relax? Say, I'm a good person. Yeah. Is that, you're a good person. I might have done some bad stuff along the way, but that's the best I knew how to do at that time. But overall, I am made of the same light the world is made of. And I can try to figure this out. Does that make you feel more relaxed? So the way to recognize if you are tapping into your soul or cold tapping is to see how it feels in your body. Now, I brought up cold tapping because every single time that we have a negative emotion, something happens and we don't deal with it and we don't process it. Because who is good at procrastinating when it comes to processing trauma? And trauma is anything that happened to you that you didn't have the time or resource to process. So it could be that person ran the red light and you're pissed off and all of a sudden you're just smiling because you want to be smiling in the car, but inside you're just upset. So the brain says, you know what, I'm going to push that down and I'm going to have it live continuously in my body. Or you did really have a traumatic effect. You were in a car accident or something. You saw somebody die, something happened. And then at that moment, you didn't have time to process it. When you don't have time to process it, it gets pushed down in your body and it gets trapped in one place or another in the body. And what happens is it waits until you have the resources, until you're finally calmed down, quiet, and it pulls that trauma up for you to process. And how do we process those negative emotions? Because I kind of demonized the human software, hardware, right? I said, oh, don't listen to it. But guess what? It is the body that we're using to walk in this world. It is the most real thing we have. The soul thing is just a concept. It feels like a concept until you've mastered it. But this is the most real thing. I had to lose weight to be able to fit into these pants again. That was real. So I had emotions. So a lot of spiritual people, they call it spiritual bypassing, but I'm not sure if that's the right term for it. But it is what's become known as spiritual bypassing, is if something bad happens and you're like, I'm so spiritual, I'm going to just float by that one. But you push stuff down. The best way to process any trauma is to relax yourself, put yourself in a safe space, if you have someone who you can do it with, and allow yourself to feel the emotion. And when you feel the emotion until it doesn't feel so powerful anymore, it means that you have given it the energy and the time that it required for it to be processed. And guess what? It just disappears. I literally had a client that I was just working with. And she had so much anxiety and it was all here. And I said, why don't we just turn your anxiety up? And she's like, no, I can't do that. I said, your fear and anxiety, bring it up. And she's like, I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. I said, well, you just paid me $300, so you're going to do it. And so she did it. And like within like 2 minutes, she's like, well, I can't feel it anymore. I don't know where it went. I said, well, it's gone. It's processed. It doesn't need to be there anymore until you bring it back up again. And you're in that moment again. So when you have a negative emotion, feel it long enough, no more than 90 seconds, please. You don't need to be living in it. Just give it time, and then turn it up, make it louder, and say, hey, I acknowledge you, do your thing, and go away. Run along, I don't need you. Just the way that we tell our human software to do that. Now I'm gonna give you a little code, a little trick so you know when you're having a human software moment. It thrives on 3 key emotions: sadness, anyone can guess anymore, anger, and fear. So sadness is when it's too attached to a circumstance and it needs detachment. Because why does it need detachment? When a human software, a human person feels that it's disconnected from the world and it's isolated and it's just a single little tiny person on this huge universe, it wants to attach to anything that it can so it can feel good. And when it can't attach to anything and it has attachment and it can't do it, it gets sad. And that's where sadness and attachment are connected. And then there's anger. Anger comes when you can't control a situation. When you don't trust that things are working out for you, then you're going to want to control it. And when you can't control it, guess what? We can't control anything. We did rehearsals here, by the way, and we had it down to a T. And I'm back there, and nothing is going the way that it is. Even the microphone's not being recorded right now. We're using the lav mic. And I had the option to go to getting frustrated, which is a softer version of anger. These are all ego-driven human software emotions. But I said, you know what? It's going to go the way that it is. Some people are going to leave in the middle. Some people are not. And whoever's meant to hear this will stay. And I let it go. I soul tapped because my soul said, you're not here to put on a show. You're here to say something that might change this much of somebody's mind. And if one of you walks away with a little bit more ease, then I've done my job. Because I'm not here for me. So that was the next one. What was the last one? Fear. Fear is the one that a lot of you live in because it's not about fearing what's happening. Actually, what's happening right now is not as scary as the worst case scenario of the future, which is called anxiety. So fear is the same as anxiety. It's just projected onto the future. And basically, and everything has a forward and a backward motion feeling. Going backward is regret. We don't want to do that either. But a lot of people, and I know some of you, and some of you have called me and said, I am living in an anxiety hell. And I say, why? Well, so many things could go wrong. I said, well, when have other things go wrong? And usually, the things that go wrong in the future are not the things you were worried about in the past. They're just pop out of nowhere, and they're like, here, ta-da! We know this. My family knows this. We were one day I was going to Coachella, and I got a call that my kid and my best friend died. And my daughter was in the ICU. I wasn't planning that. I had no anxiety over that one. But the things that happen that cause anxiety, that we should have anxiety about, are not the things that we end up having. So now, next time one of you feels sad, blame it on the body. Just say, hey, I get it. You're the 5-year-old. I'm going to put you in the corner. Don't put it in the corner. Acknowledge it and honor it. Always honor the physical body. and say, thank you, I appreciate you, but shut the up. Okay? I'm going to say one more thing before I move to the next topic, because we're going to cover 2 more topics before we have our breaks, okay? Because I'm going to talk about how important. So we've been talking about inner dialogue, right? And everyone's been following. And you can see how everything I've said is related to the inner dialogue. Has anyone have any questions or disagreements or something that they just want to tell me to give me the finger for? Oh my God, my son. No, put that hand down. What's your question?
If I do something and I feel something and I do something bad, does that make me a bad person?
Actually, it's a really good question. I think I answered it earlier. You said, if I do something really, really bad and I lose control, am I a bad person? No, we're all the same amazing human beings. Sometimes we're lost and sometimes you're caught in your emotion. So remember when you have a tantrum and you can't control yourself and you'll throw something or hit me or hit him or something, hit your brother, your brain, your human software is taking over because it thinks that there's an animal attacking you or something attacking you, and your fight or flight system kicks in, your stress mode kicks in. And then when you're done with it, do you notice how fast you go back to normal and then you come and apologize? Now, if you didn't apologize, you might be a bad person. But the kids are great because we have Cyrus and Dario. Cyrus has a very active emotional response to everything, like cries and really feels devastated. Dario over there has a out-of-body rage experience where, he could hit something or throw something or do something. But the beauty of what they do and what we forget is that they walk themselves back to normal. So Cyrus will cry and he's like, oh, daddy, hit me. It's going, and then 2 seconds later, it's calmer. A minute later, it's calmer. And then about 4 minutes later, can we go play outside? So that's how kids do it. Kids don't linger in it. Adults linger. They say, oh my God, I just hit my brother. I am the worst person in the world. Now, as an adult, I just did this horrible thing. I'm going to sit for the next 2 years and think about that thing that I did or the person that I ran into and I accidentally said something to them. And we don't let it go. One thing happens in one moment and we hold on to it for a year. So that's our problem. And you know why? Because the mind is addicted to the thoughts that it thinks. So unless you understand how your mind works, you cannot hack the system. If you know that your mind is addicted to yesterday's thoughts, then when you think yesterday's thoughts again, you got to slow it down. And the only way that happens is self-awareness. And self-awareness, one of the greatest tools is, anyone know? Meditation. Meditation is awesome because it shuts you up and allows you to sit for a moment. Another thing is what I call stop. I forget what it stands for. It's in my book. Or scan. It was scan. Stop, check in, assess, and do something else, whatever the N stands for. But whatever it is whenever you have a moment, when something comes at you, remember, your body is ready to react because we are reactive beings. If someone jumps at you or punches you, you're going to want to punch them back. If someone yells at you, you're going to want to yell at them back. Whatever happens, whatever our response is, the immediate response is always the body's response. It's never the soul's response unless you practice that into it. So if you acknowledge that it's always your body, your human software that's responding really fast, reacting, then you need to learn how to proact, which means scan, whatever the N means. Stop, check in, assess. Come on, help me with an N there. Neutralize. Thank you. It might have been that, actually. It's on the last chapter of my book, the Intuition Bible, which is upstairs. And if you don't own it, you should buy it. It's really good. So the key thing is to understand your first response generally comes from the human software, but we need to soul tap as humans. If you want to have a successful life that feels miraculous, that feels amazing, that feels like it's magical, then you need to soul tap. Now, if you know me very well, and the front row knows me very well, you know I have a magical life. Things just work out. There's Stephanie right here, and she's like, "What are you doing with work?" I'm like, "I don't know." I have Virgos here that plan everything in advance. I'm a Pisces. I have no clue what the heck I'm doing tomorrow. I wait till I get this soul tapping download in my head, and then the download comes into my mind, and I say, "This is what I'm doing." Like a month ago, I was sleeping. I wake up at 3 o'clock every morning, and I said, "I think I'm going to put on a show, and I'm going to talk about something I've never talked about, and I'm going to fill a room full of 100 people." And guess what? The next day, I freaked the F out. Because actually, I was on the high because I got the download. I was on a high for about 24 hours. And then the little voice kicked in. "You're not going to fill that room up. Yeah, you're not good enough. All your fans are all over the world. You have 53,000 followers on TikTok. You're not going to get 100 people here." And then once I shut that down, guess what? I said, I don't really want to spend that extra money to do this. Because obviously because I hired an amazing video team and the technicians and lighting and the place. It cost me a lot. And I wanted to just charge enough for the tickets so people would just show up so they feel they're committed. But it wasn't really about making money. It was really about just seeing how this material goes over, and also to just build a community and do something for other people and not for myself. I charged pretty high for my hourly, so I figured that would pay for this. But then there were no clients because my team the team that I hired decided that they were going to take 3 months between campaigns, and I'm like, okay, there's no money coming in. But I'm a master manifester. So I said, it's going to happen. And then all of a sudden, that team called me. They're like, "You know what? Since this is taking so long, we're going to give you 25% off your deal." Out of the blue. And that 25% and your $10 paid for this event. But I couldn't have come up with that on my own. I could have sat there for a week, morning and night, sweating like crazy and not being able to come up with a way to do it, other than putting it on my credit cards, which I could, but I like not having debt. All right, so we talked about all this stuff. We talked about does everyone understand now? If you're feeling sad, if you're feeling angry, if you're feeling fear, if you're feeling anxiety, that's from the little baby version of you. And put it in its place. And when you're feeling happy, when you're feeling joyful, when you're feeling empowered, when you're feeling like you can do just about anything, that's your soul talking. And always chase the feeling that makes you feel good and expanded, because that's where you know your soul is in concert with you. Deal? Is everyone do that from now on? Sure. We'll see about that. I need to listen to this stuff like every day. Otherwise, I forget that I'm not human. Because I always think that I'm human, but I'm not human. I am human, but I'm an eternal soul. Can I tell you a quick story before I keep moving on? So we are so little. This life is so little. So that when my son comes visit, my dead son, Sky. So if you don't know, I'm a prophetic dreamer. I dream births, deaths, anniversaries, boyfriends, whatever I have, I dream it in advance. So how many of you know this about me and have seen it firsthand? Yeah, so these people, all of them, they know for the last 20 years, I predict just about everything. I talk to the dead. They come to my dreams. And as of even last month, I had my last death dream. And it's real for me. And even the person who I told that, hey, your family member is going to pass, she was like, "Are you sure?" And I said, this is kind of how I function. So prep yourself. But anyway, so I want to tell you how small this life is. So when my son died, other than guiding me towards having my twins and telling me that Faith was going to be okay, he showed up every night. And about a week or two later, he told me, Daddy, I'm not a 4-year-old anymore. Think of someone in a human form in their prime, like a 30-something-year-old. So when you see me, you see who I am. I am at my prime. I was just in a 4-year-old's body. So from now on, I'm showing up as a grown-up. So he would come, and he kind of hadn't come for a really long time. About 2 years ago, around his birthday, I was having a moment, because I'm allowed to have a moment when you have a dead kid. And I said, come on, show up. Please show up. It's your birthday. Like, I've been binge watching your videos. Show up. And that night he shows up. He's on a bus, and we're on a bus together. Then we go to this motel, and we're really having these long conversations. The dream lasted what felt like 2 days maybe, but it was really like 6-hour dream. And in the dream, he would come, would ask me to hang out with me and leave, and then he would come back. Because you know, in dreams, when people leave, they don't really come back. And he was glowing and nice, and I was just petting his hair. And he said, I remember this so vividly. He said, Daddy, can you, in as much detail, explain my life while I was on earth? And I said, why? Why do you need to know what your life was like on earth? Didn't you experience it? He said, well, I experienced it as that little kid, but the soul that I am now, the eternal soul that I am now, is so expansive that when I think about those 4 years, it feels like a blip. And it doesn't feel like I can remember every detail. I want to hear it again. I want to live it again. So I literally sat down and told him as much detail as I could. And I said, we did this together, you love this together, you love Nutella, you love this. So many little details. Ice cream, you threw up when I tried to give you cheeseburger because you would prefer pizza or chicken nuggets or whatever it was that he liked. And I tried to give him as much as I could, even though I'd only seen him a quarter of his life because he didn't even live with me. Then he said, I want to hear Rachel, his other mom, come. And I guess a an astral version of her came, and she took over the conversation. She doesn't remember that, but she did it. So the reason I say that is that this life is a blip. Doesn't matter if you live 4 years or 90 years. It's a blip to the soul. So the soul is wiser, and we need to tap into it. We need to soul tap. And I want to teach you a little bit more on how to do it. Now, why is all this important other than feeling good? Because right now, all I've been doing is helping you feel good, right? Or at least try to learn techniques to feel good. But why is this important? It's important because of something called the reticular activating system. So we're going to go into science, and we're going to go into the spiritual world, okay? Who has heard of the reticular activating system? Not that much. So basically, the reticular activating system is this little part in your brain that funnels information small enough for you to be able to comprehend what's happening. So at every single moment in life, every single moment, we are processing we are receiving 11 million bits of data. 11 million bits from all our 5 senses, from our inner 5 senses, from our clairsentience, all our inner and outer senses, in one moment, are receiving 11 million bits of data. Do you know how much information that is? Imagine trying to fit 11 million people in this room. Or how big of a stadium we'd need to do? Like, what is it? I think Gaga just performed in Rio. Was it in Rio? And it was 2 million people. And you couldn't even see the people. It was a sea of people. And those 11 million have to be whittled down by our RAS to 50. because all we can process is 50 in each moment. So 11 million bits of data have to disappear or be generalized, distorted, and put somewhere in the body, hidden somewhere, so our brain can process 50. So imagine, 5 times the crowd at Gaga, or Madonna 10 times, she did 1.6, and we have to pick 50 people out of those people. That sounds ridiculous, but that's what your subconscious does every single moment. Because right now, your periphery is seeing everything. Your inner senses are feeling what's going on in your body. There's so much. So what determines what 50 people we pick out of the group per moment? Anyone know? Huh? It's our beliefs. It's what you believe reality to be. Okay? So all your life, you have come to new conclusions as to what you believe. People have told you stuff. You've seen stuff on the news. You think the world is the way that it is. You think the people are the way that they are. So you think that, let's say, men are aggressive and women are kind, or you think that people that are too pretty are dumb, people that are to, wear glasses or smart, whatever it is, you have come to accumulate a lifetime worth of beliefs. I believe I'm intuitive and I'm a prophetic dreamer. So guess what? My brain's going to cherry pick the stuff that's intuitive. You believe that there's no such thing as spirituality. I'm just pointing around that way. So anything that's spiritual or might prove that spirituality exists, your brain will delete. Because your brain does not want you to feel like you're going to fall over because the world's not what you thought it was. Your brain has to prove to you that what you believe is true. So if you believe that you came from poor parents and therefore you do not have the tools to become rich, even if there's a millionaire there with all this money ready to invest in what you believe in, guess what? Your RAS is not going to acknowledge their presence. You're not going to resonate with them. It's going to pick that one guy that's poor and is trying to put a wool over your head. This is true. This is fact. This is not something I made up. So if you believe that you're not worthy of a good lover or a good boyfriend or girlfriend because all of them are liars and cheaters, and there's 20 people here and there's a speed dating thing going on, your brain can pick up which person fits the bill to match your belief. And then you say, well, LA's full of crappy people. All the good ones are taken. They're either gay, which gay is not that great, by the way. Trust me, gay dating is a very special. But that's my belief. That's really my belief. And that's a stupid belief. I need to let go of that one. They're gay, they're married, or they're cheaters or liars or whatever it is. So if one genuine good person's there, your brain is not going to pick it up. Now, how does the brain know this crap? How can the brain pick out the people that match your beliefs? It's because of another scientific thing which people used to think was fake. It's your electromagnetic field. Who knows about that? The heart gives out 3 feet of electromagnetic field. You're sending out signals and you're receiving signals. So if I come close enough to you, within 6 feet of you, a little closer, we can exchange data without ever speaking. That's when someone's full of crap and you're hanging out with them and you're like, oh, no. Whatever's coming out of your mouth is not true. Because you feel their electromagnetic field giving you one set of information and they're giving you one set of information. But when you're in contact with people, your electromagnetic field can tell your subconscious if this is in alignment with your beliefs or not. So that's why your beliefs are important. You can't just listen to anybody. You have to be very discerning and stop listening. Like, I'm going to tell you something. Like, my mom told me one time, This is a long time ago. Sorry to put you on the spot. She said, you can only fall in love with the greatest love just one time in your life. I don't even think if you remember it. And I believed it. So when I broke up with the love of my life, I was like, that's it. It's over. And I believed that until I decided not to believe it. Or somebody told me that I was never going to be able to finish anything. Whatever I started, I couldn't finish. I was 21 when that person said that. And it took me until I was 33 to be able to get rid of that idea because I believe them. So your beliefs are what determines what you attract, what you see and what you get into your life. So you better start monitoring your beliefs. What you believe is always a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that's where what you voice you listen to, whether you're soul tap or cold tap, whether you're listening to human software, all that stuff determines your beliefs. Because what you think a lot becomes your beliefs. So the more you're aware that you're choosing thoughts that feel better, the more you're going to create beliefs that are going to attract the better things into your lives. All right, so now we come to my favorite topic. And then, which is, what's my favorite topic? No, you said it already. That's my daughter. What? The law of attraction. All right, so this, there's wonderful teachers that teach it. And there's about 2 billion people that teach it all of a sudden. I learned about the law of attraction the very first time without knowing it. Manifestation. Manifestation is when you create something using your thoughts. So I actually learned that from my mother a long time ago. My mom used to say, whenever I want something, it happens. I remember one time she was like, I wish I had these crystal bowls. Do you remember the crystal bowls? And then all of a sudden, where was it? Where was the crystal bowls? Somebody brought it? You found it? Something happened, and she comes home with these crystal bowls that she didn't pay for. This is when I was very young. And then she would say, oh, whatever I want happens. So that was my first idea of manifestation. And of course, if you're that young and someone says whatever you want happens, guess what? That goes into my belief system, and I start saying whatever I want happens. And that's how I got a little advantage. That's how I'm a master manifester now. But the way that law of attraction works, who knows what law of attraction is? Okay, most people. Law of attraction is a law in the universe, which is it can be proven by using radio signals. It says frequencies of the same wavelength are drawn together. So if you tune into 102.7 and if you broadcast 102.7, they're going to find each other and you're going to be able to pick up on that station. There is no way, if it's in range, there is no way to broadcast the same frequency and tune into that frequency and not receive it unless you have a broken radio. That is just the law of the universe. That's how it happens. And what determines our frequency, because we are constantly attracting things into our lives that are a match to our frequency. So now, before I talked about the soul and the body, then I talked about the beliefs. Now we're talking going out in the universe into where the world of the impossible is. We're no longer thinking about, this is all soul stuff. When you think a thought, doesn't matter any thought, if you give that thought a long enough airtime, it means if you think about it enough, you start to add that to your frequency, to your overall energetic frequency, right? And everything in this world is frequency. The light that we see is the visible light, part of the electromagnetic spectrum. That's frequency, and our eyes are picking that up. And guess what? Just so you know, the electromagnetic spectrum is really wide. It's gamma rays, X-rays. What's after that one? Infrared? No. It's something else. Then it's the visible light is about this big. All the colors, everything you see here is only this much of the spectrum. Then it's infrared, then it's microwave. No, then it was microwave, then there's the, what is it? Ultraviolet, and then there's visible, and then we go to radio waves and other stuff that's much, much weaker. It's FM, and then television, and then AM. That's like at the end of it. But all of that is actual wavelengths of electromagnetic, of the electromagnetic spectrum. But we can only see this much. And in the same way that you can only see this much of the visual field, because your eyes are only tuned to things that vibrate on that very specific frequency, which is a sliver of reality. What you hear is also a small sliver of what is actually sound in the world. That's why dogs can hear other stuff. There's so much in this world. What you see, there's so much you can see. There's people who see auras. Anyone see auras here? You can see it at all times? Or sometimes? Sometimes. Can anyone see auras all the time? Or just whenever you're in a really good mood? Okay, so some people can see auras. Some people can see ghosts. Anyone see ghosts? You can? See, he's got the ability to see that. I have seen my dead best friend like in front of me and then jumping into my body, and I could feel her beautiful energy. These are things that, so there's so much of reality that we don't perceive. So the senses, the smell. My mom can smell sometimes. One time, my son visited him and she could smell roses, and I couldn't smell it. So there are other energies in this world that we cannot sense, and there's so much going on. And the physical world is only 1% of reality. So what is happening outside of that 1% is happening on an energetic level, and everything that comes to us happens on an energetic level first, then we get to see it. But how and what determines what it is that we receive from the outside world? It is our vibrational frequency, our dominant frequency. So the thoughts that you think about determine your frequency. And whether you are thinking of something that's positive, that you love, you're going to include it in your frequency, or whether you're thinking about something you dislike. So just like the RAS that I spoke with, because the RAS is a physical version of law of attraction. The brain, law of attraction does not discriminate if you like something or if you don't like something. So if you're someone who's complaining all the time, you're gonna get situations, opportunities, and experiences that are gonna give you the opportunity to complain some more. Because the universe says she likes to complain. So let's give her more things to complain. If you notice your bank account is always low, the universe says, oh my God, this person loves a low bank account. Let's make sure we get a really big bill as soon as that person makes that extra money. This is not a joke. This is how it works. This is literally how it works. You know this because you can look at your bank account and it's usually the same amount, and you get a raise or a bonus, and then you get an extra expense, or you all of a sudden lose an expense, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I'm sorry, we're cutting your salary a little bit lower, or a client doesn't come. It's how it works. We have a thermostat when it comes to our vibration on every topic in our lives. So the thermostat is this. What are the topics in our lives? Money, health, wealth, relationships, love. What else? Family, work, career. So we have all of these are the top things people think about in health. Did I say health? Yeah, health and wealth, always in the beginning. So those things, we have a thermostat. Do you know what a thermostat is? Not a thermometer? So if you have a, what is it? Because I don't have it. It is central air. I live in the 1920s building. I have a heater and a portable thing. But anyway, so you set the thermostat on 70 or 73 is my favorite, 72. So you put it on 72, right? And when it's on 72, If a breeze comes in, the heater comes on and puts it back on 72. If you get a hot air coming in, the air conditioner will come on and it'll put it on 72. So the only way to change what you receive is to change the thermostat. Now, a lot of people are like, okay, I get this. So I'm having these thoughts. I'm thinking, okay, I love this stuff, and I like that stuff, and I like that stuff. So more of that's going to come to me. And I'm going to, even though my entire life I've been broke, and that's where my belief system is at, that I am not worthy of having money and I'm broke, I'm going to start visualizing money, because that's what they say you're supposed to do, visualize. So I'm going to think about, I want money, 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 right? So then some money comes in, but your core belief, because we're going back to the belief, is that I am not a wealthy person. I didn't have a rich dad. I'm not good enough. I don't have enough self-worth. People don't want to be around me. Money has a lot of things around it. So what happens is that at that moment, you'll get a lot of money, but because the belief system is a thermostat, the money will just kind of disappear. Or you're like, oh, I'm finally going to meet someone. I've been visualizing this wonderful person who's going to come into my life and be just the best husband or wife. And it's going to be different finally because I believe, I've been practicing, I've been visualizing, I've been doing everything. But at the core, you think you're not lovable. And at the core, you think that people are awful. Men are cheaters. Women they like to take advantage of you and take all your money. Whatever it is that you believe. So you visualize. You get that person into your life, right? A good person, a really good person. But because your core beliefs of that are the original stuff, you will sabotage it and you will kick them out of your life. You will do something because your core behavior is still your core behavior. So the only way to change your thermostat is to work on the beliefs. What you think, what you feel, and what you believe, when those are aligned, is what you attract. So it all goes back to one thing, inner dialogue. Inner dialogue, self-awareness, and knowing where you're at and how you're feeling. You have to be self-aware. Self-awareness is the most important thing. Self-aware that I'm not a human body, I am a spirit. Self-aware that where this information is coming from is not of this physical, or this is not this valuable physical body that knows so much because I've read 1 billion books. What I want to tap into is my soul. I want a soul tap. I want to access infinite potential. And I want to use those thoughts to perpetuate, to change my beliefs. And I want to go be self-aware enough to go back. Now, this is part 2 we were talking about. Go back to my beliefs about rich dad, poor dad, for example, and find other people who had poor parents and ended up being rich. Think of Oprah. Think of all these people who had poor parents and ended up making it. So take that thought and debunk it. Be self-aware. Write down your beliefs about everything, positive and negative. And if you do that, then find the ones that are not serving you and rewrite them. And if you want to know how to rewrite them, ask your soul. And if it feels good, rewrite them. Who cares? Do you know that most of the things that we believe are made up? Do you know that the English language was made up? Everything was made up. Everything is, to an extent, a lie. Something somebody made up. Isn't that what a lie is? Something someone made up, right? Is that like a definition? It's something that's made up that's not true. The truth is we're eternal beings, we can do anything, we have more power, we have creative abilities. So therefore, anything else other than that is a lie. So if you're gonna lie to yourself, find something that's helpful and lie about that. Say, I'm amazing. Who can say okay, let's see how many people can say that and not have a weird feeling in their stomach. Say, I'm amazing. Okay, now I know that sounded good, but how many of you actually believed it? Look at that. There's a lot of people that didn't raise their hands. Why aren't you amazing? You are amazing. You are made of star material. Do you know that? Did you know that most of you, excuse my language, forget about spirituality, okay? Let's think physical stuff, okay? Physical matter. Do you know what the majority of life, organic life, is made up of? Carbon. Carbon. The body's made of carbon, okay? Do you know where carbon is made? In a star. Now, do you know how big that star has to be to make carbon? Now, our sun is pretty big, right? Can only make one thing. It turns hydrogen into helium. It can do one thing. It's so tiny. So a star that can make carbon through its formation, it's because it is a big factory and it has a supernova and do all this stuff. A star that can make carbon has to be 100 times larger than our sun. So your physical body, not my shirt, but this cotton pants, this body, that body, every single one of your bodies was made inside a star that's 100 times larger than this beautiful sun that we have. Did anybody know this? I know you two know it. Those little kids are my little kids. They pretty much know everything. They could probably give you this lecture. But we are made of stars. So how can we not be amazing? So now let's say it again. I'm amazing. I am made up of stars. Anybody have a problem believing that? Now the problem is, if you look into the mirror and say, I'm beautiful, I am amazing, it's hard. Because when you look in the mirror, what's the first thing you notice? Flaws. When we look in the mirror, we see our flaws. So when we look at our flaws and say, I'm not good enough, I'm not tall enough, I am not pretty enough, I'm not a 10, I'm a 9, I'm not a 7, whatever it is, look, I'm getting older, I need to go visit my doctor, my hair is falling out, whatever it is. Where do you think that information is coming from? Is it coming from the human software? Or is it coming from soul tapping and your soul? So let's put it in its place. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, just really briefly. Okay, so what is your opinion about acceptance? Because my mom told me at a very young age, well, first she told me, don't let anyone tell you you can't be what you want to be and be who you want to be. I love you. Don't let anyone discourage you or tell you you're not enough. She told me acceptance is the key, whatever the situation may be, good, bad, or indifference. To be able to accept that gives you the power to be able to recreate it or change it. What is your opinion?
I think that what your mother said was probably the most amazing thing in the world. But when you say, I accept you just the way that you are you soul tapping or are you using your human software? When you say, I accept you, does it make you feel open or does it contract? So that's it. So the thing is, I'm not getting into too many words, which we're going to do a Q&A. And we have, because we're done with this section pretty much, and we're going to do a Q&A, and I expect we're not going to be able to get through everybody, but please, the reason you have those little tiny notebooks was so if you can come up with questions, write it in there, because I know you obviously can't write my entire thing in there. I thought it would be a cute little thing to have questions. We'll ask questions later. But remember, anytime you look in the mirror and you say, I'm not good enough, then you're receiving information from a fifth grader. And anytime you look in the mirror and say, look, you know what? I am more than this physical body. I love the way that you are. I'm going to accept you, doesn't mean you have to settle. The thing is, we have an inner critic in our brain that always wants us to upgrade. So, and I want to talk about that. Let's not demonize the inner critic. So the inner critic doesn't want you to be laying on the couch your entire life just watching television, even if you're a millionaire. Okay, and the inner critic doesn't want you to be 500 pounds to where you're going to die of diabetes and just, disappear. Okay? Your inner critic wants you to grow, be the best version of that you can. And so it's always going to be present. But you have to acknowledge that it is coming from the human software and say, hey, I can fix this right now, or I can work on this for the right reasons, but whatever I cannot change, I accept. And don't go psychotic like gay people trying to have abs, because I am guilty. We are OCD when it comes to our bodies, and we're trying to stay like 30 forever and look amazing and whatever it is. But that's body dysmorphia. That's certain things that are just going, we don't have acceptance in our community quite just yet. But overall, you need to always, whenever you're speaking, when the dialogue comes, be self-aware and say, who's talking? Okay? Because if you have, let's do very opposing people. Let's do very charged people. Okay? I don't care what part of the political spectrum you're in, if you're red or blue. We're going to pretend it was last year's debates. Okay? And we had Kamala Harris and we had Donald Trump. And you already know what you want. When they spoke, you had a discernment of who was speaking and who you were going to pay attention to and who you were going to believe. Did you not? Do the same thing with your frickin' voice. It's the same thing with your voice. Now you know the impact of your voice. Your inner dialogue determines what your belief system is, when something is in the room, your RAS determines who you're going to come in contact with. So let's say I have had a pattern of negative relationships over and over and over, and I come here and there's 3 beautiful guys. Who do you think I'm going to be drawn to? The person who's going to perpetuate my pattern, or the person who's going to just change my life? Perpetuate my pattern, because that's what I'm used to. And who do you think is going to look the most beautiful? Same person. I'm going to be attracted to the person who's going to perpetuate my patterns. And guess why? The reason that our patterns are repetitive and that the same opportunities come into our lives over and over and over is because our soul came here for 2 reasons. One was to transform, and one was to clear karmic baggage. And the only way that we have the opportunity to transform and clear karmic baggage is when people trigger us and people piss us off. Whenever you're triggered, it's not the person's problem who's triggering you. It's you're the one that needs to fix it. It's you that needs to fix the trigger. Because guess what? If I have a cut right here, like my son right now, he has a hand, foot, mouth disease. Don't worry, none of you can catch it. It's a children's disease. It's a children's disease. Only kids can catch it. But he's trying to walk wearing socks that he always wears. But because he's got boo-boos on his feet, it hurts. And he can try 20 different socks. It's going to hurt until he heals his boo-boos. So when someone irritates you, when somebody pushes your buttons, it's only because you have buttons to push. If you didn't have buttons to push, no one could push your button because you ain't got no buttons. Right? So stop blaming other people for not behaving the way that you want them to behave, because it's not their fault. You attracted them into your life. The universe only spends its resources on something that is important. So if it's going out of its way to bring this a-hole into your life, it went through a lot of effort. So get what you're going to get out of it before you get rid of that person, so you don't get the same person again. Did that make sense? It described all my marriages, all 20 of them. No. So this is what I do. When I, for example, relationships is a big one. When I'm in a relationship, I take years off, do self-work, see where the issues were, and then go start again, thinking that I'm not going to have the same issues again. But guess what? You need that person in your life to trigger you to work on the issues. So my advice to all of you, if you have a coworker that's pissing you off, if you have a friend that's making you mad, if you have a job that's making you feel unworthy, if you have a lover that's making you so mad, fix the problem in that relationship. And chances are that person will not be fixing it too. So the universe will break you guys up, push you out of that job, you'll get rejected, you'll get fired, and then the right opportunity will come, because now the new opportunity is a match to the real you. Okay? So as we wrap up this section, I hope you guys have some questions ready. If you don't have questions ready, I swear to God, I'm going to be so mad, because the second section is about your questions. We're going to have to cut probably the meditation at the end because we're running a little late. Okay, I'll do a short one. But what I want you to do is have some questions ready. And because we talked about everything. Now, think of me as the encyclopedia of all things metaphysical. So even if I didn't mention it in this particular talk, you can ask me any question. Think I tap into something greater, and I'll have an answer for you. I won't tell you I don't know where the heck that answer comes from, but it will come. I have my intuition Bible that is up there for sale. I didn't write that book. I basically sat down and my fingers just typed itself out. I woke up with 15 chapters pre-written. I would have to call my best friend Rain and be like, does this sound dumb? Because she's extremely spiritual. She could be doing this. She could have done this like 10 years ago. But I'm always scared to tell her because she does all these meditations. I'm like, do that meditation. It just came to me in a dream or something. And then she'll do it. And I'm always so scared what she's going to say. But I've learned to trust my inner self because I speak. Now, I teach how to tap into your inner wisdom way more than what I taught, because I only teach, and today was all about how you feel and how to recognize where the information is coming from. But the Intuition Bible, some of you have read it, some of you have it. It's all about how to tap into your inner wisdom, all the way from resonating to something, to gut feelings, to having clairvoyant, clairsentient experiences, to getting downloads, to getting visions, everything. And I think everyone can do that. And because there's so much information in this world, it's very important to learn how to tap into your own inner wisdom. It's like a textbook though, so it's heavy, but it's so fucking good. Excuse me. Don't give me that. My children, my policemen. You love the book? Thank you. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, the book is good. I mean, I'm proud of the book. Go ahead. So your inner wisdom, the easiest way is what I just taught you. The easiest way is to check your emotions, to see if what you're thinking is making you feel good, and if what you're thinking is not making you feel good. That's the easiest way. But the harder, the more, the more, there are so many ways to do it. Buy my book, read it. There's so much. I can't just give you, there's so much. With The Secret? Well, yeah, it's awesome. And you know, the woman who wrote it is one of my good friends, Rhonda Byrne. And she's coming out with 3 new books. And the picture you see on the inside of the book of her, I did the makeup. So I'm in all of her books, but just my work. But the thing about The Secret, and I want to say The Secret taught about the law of attraction. It taught about how to attract things into your life. I want a red Maserati. I'm going to attract that. I want a husband that's got blue hair, blue eyes. Get this script. That's how you can attract certain stuff. So it was a lot about stuff.
But you know what I thought a lot, and I worked on it for a law of attraction to attract the thing that I want, to get it into my life, and it works.
Of course it works. The law of attraction works really well.
It worked, and it just made me wiser.
No, it's true. The law of attraction works. I'll tell you a story. So right when I found out about The Secret, because I have such great law of attraction manifestation, I met Rhonda Byrne and her daughter, Sky Byrne. And Sky is actually the one who wrote the quote on my book. This is 17 years ago. And I told my best friend, because we weren't really doing financially very well at the time, I said, we're going on a trip to an island, and we're going to manifest that money. So a couple of months goes by. I say, I'm buying us a ticket and hotel to Puerto Rico. We're going. And I bought us a ticket on Priceline or something. It was $1,300, right? So a month before the event, I don't have that $1,300, and I don't want to pay interest on my credit card. So then I get a phone call, and they're like, we're the Secret team, and we want to know if you're available next week to do makeup. And I said, sure. So I go to Montecito, do the makeup. They're like, how much do you charge? I said, $1,300. So they sent me a check from the Secret team to pay for my trip that I just did The Secret. But here's what I want to tell you. If you're using the law of attraction, the one thing you need to remember is don't be so exact on what you want. Take the essence of what you want. Say, and don't put a date on it. Say, I want to feel amazing with this person. I want this kind of experience. I want this money. I want to have lots of money. I want to have love in my life. But I trust that the universe knows who to bring me, what they're going to look like, how it's going to be, and how they're going to come. Because when you do that, the universe has much cooler ways to bring you what you need and what you deserve. But when you decide you're smarter than the universe and say, I want a man that's 6'3", 6'5", blue eyes, works in finance, whatever it is. When you become too descript, you slow down your manifestation, or you speed it up and you only get what you ask for. You don't get all the beautiful things along the way. And my next book will probably cover that. So, any more questions before we take a break? So, thank you so much. I hope you liked it. Thank you.